How's it going, guys? My name is Theo Graham. Welcome to One Guy, One Take. Today, I am joined by a good friend of mine, Thomas. If you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Thomas. I'm a buddy of Theo's. I'm also a sport management major at Brock. And Theo's a little bit hypocritical because it's the second video and his channel is called One Guy,
Right.
One Take. But
Hey,
here I am.
it's a nice occurrence to have you here. But yeah, man, we're gonna get started. We're gonna do some NFL wildcard picks, predictions, and gambling advice. Even though we don't really condone it, but if you guys do that, we're just giving our advice out there. So yeah, let's get straight into it. We're gonna start with the Houston Texans and the Cleveland Browns. So I gotta know, man, what are your thoughts going into this? CJ's first ever playoff game, and as a rookie, let's see it.
I'm a big CJ guy. I think he's a great quarterback. Rode with him all year long, believed in him, whatnot. But just to get my take out of the way, I think that the Browns are going to come out on top in this game. I think their defense is going to prove to be way too much. Denzel Ward is questionable with the knee injury, so he might not play. But I do think they have Emerson and other guys that can make big plays. Obviously, they have guys like Myles Garrett as well. That could be a huge problem for the Houston O line. Stroud is just coming off of a concussion. He looked really good versus the Colts, but I don't know if he's faced the defense as good as this one this year. Um, the defense is really going to be key in this game. So the Texans do have a great D as well. Pause. They have a good offense. But yeah, I just think the Browns D really prevails here. You see that in the playoffs year after year, how big of an impact defense does make on the game. And it's not just defense for the Browns either. It's guys on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously they're without Watson, but Flacco's been balling out lately. He's really found a true weapon that he really likes in both Amari Cooper and David Njoku. He's elevated Njoku's game to a level that we knew he could get to, but he never really has yet in his career. And I think that yeah, that's why I'm taking Cleveland. What do you think?
Okay. Cleveland is 4-1 their last five. Joe Flacco has, taken the league over by storm once again when he was on Baltimore back in the day. This defense, I've honestly slept on Cleveland this entire season. To be completely honest, I'm sorry to your Browns fans out there, but to be honest, man, this defense is like probably one of the best in the NFL, man. Garrett, like you said, 14 sacks. They are kind of banged up, but I was big on this one guy because I'm a Notre Dame fan, as I may have said in the last video. This guy Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, this guy is a beast, man. He plays linebacker. He's like a rover, kind of like a Swiss Army knife kind of player. I feel like if Stroud can escape the pocket, I'm gonna sound like that Jets coach when they drafted Jermaine Johnson. But if Stroud can escape the pocket, I feel like Owusu-Koramoah could get to him just with that speed. And honestly, man, like it's gonna be a great game. But one thing that concerns me is Stroud's first ever, playoff game. We haven't really seen rookies succeed too much, and even get to the playoffs. So, I mean, kudos to him to get in there. But Stroud is a great player. I honestly kind of doubted him coming into this year, but he's really proven me wrong and proven a lot of people wrong. You know what I mean? So I feel like his passing attack, Nico Collins has had a great season, about 1,200 yards for him. Tank Dell is obviously out, but I feel like Dalton Schultz has really stepped up into a role where
Big time.
we saw that kind of flashes with the Cowboys, but now still in Texas, Houston, he's still balled out this year. So I feel like he can make a big impact. And I feel like Stroud just kind of has that, level of passion where he can kind of have his way. And with Derek Stingley kind of having an all-pro type year, he's been great. And I feel like he could really limit those guys like Amari Cooper. So you know what, man, this might sound crazy. I'm gonna have the Texans and I have them 21-13 against the Cleveland Browns. So
Yeah, like I could see it going either way. I don't really disagree with your opinion. No, I'm sure you don't really disagree with mine, but it's kind of just like that's a wild card is really a toss up, right? It's one game, anything can happen. I think the strengths play towards the Browns, even though they're on the road, and Theo thinks the opposite. So
it's
it is what it is.
it's gonna be a great game. Really looking forward to that. Honestly, two kind of under the radar teams. I don't feel like these teams are respected enough.
Now,
But
like I stream the Browns defense every single week in fantasy. I didn't start another defense the whole year,
they're
except
legit.
maybe the Ravens once. But like, yeah, they're gonna get it done for me. And like what you said about Dalton Schultz is like, I feel like in Dallas he was more of just like a touchdown merchant.
Yeah,
Like he got a lot of points and red zone looks off touchdowns, but in
player.
Houston he's been targeted a lot more and trusted a lot more with the
Yeah,
ball in his hands.
I feel like with that kind of receiving core with he's really shown more because I feel like he was kind of overlooked in the Dallas receiving core.
Yeah.
With CD kind of headlining it, and even Noah Brown last year had a great year, but I feel like Dalton Schultz really stepped in that big role, and I feel like he could really play a big part, even though they do have Njoku on the inside of the ball. I feel like Houston's coming with more of a chip on their shoulder. I really feel like they will win it, but like I said, go either way. And yeah, all right, moving on. Then.
You're saying 21-13?
I'll say 21-13.
Okay, I'll go with 24-21 for the Browns.
Okay, perfect. Now moving on, we have the Dolphins and the Chiefs. For all my gamblers out there, live spread is -4 in favor of Kansas City, but I think that this game, like the past game, could really go either way. I really feel like that way for most of the games here, but Dolphins just have such an interesting offense. Waddle is questionable going into this week, but this offense we never really seen much like in Miami or much really seen it, this year. Just speed. You got A-Chain, Mostert. Mostert has really had a great year, leading the freaking NFL and touchdowns. So, what do you think this offense can do with this Kansas City?
I'm thinking that the Kansas City, their strength on defense, although they do have a very well-rounded defense, their strength, I think this year, may differ from other people's opinion, is their secondary. They have a really strong secondary. Obviously, they have guys like Chris Jones, George Karlaftis that are very strong up front as well. But their secondary is what really makes a difference for them and what they didn't really have in past years with McDuffie or Snead, guys like that.
Yeah.
I think that will limit Miami's pass attack, but in a game that's supposed to be so cold, the pass attack might not be as big of a factor, right? And Kansas City's defense has had trouble stopping the run.
Yeah.
We saw this versus the Packers. We saw this in other games this year.
Shout out the Packers.
And they have Devon A-Chain.
Yeah.
One of the fastest rookies we've seen in a minute. He's a very dynamic. Before he got hurt, he was cooking. Right after he got hurt, Mostert was out last week versus the Bills, and A-Chain looked great.
Over 1,000 yards for Mostert. And I'm assuming you've seen Dolphins are 0-10 in a specific degree of weather.
Yep.
Very cold weather. I don't know how they're gonna adjust to it. I know Tyreek definitely used to playing in KC, but are you big on Mahomes? Because I personally think he still has it in him somewhere. Obviously none of his receivers are really over 1,000 yards. I really thought Kelce would, get to that mark eventually, but
Yeah, Kelce was
never
only like 40 yards off, but still,
it's just really kind of disappointing to see.
when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, I would say you're kidding yourself if you don't think he's the best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
I really don't really like Patrick Mahomes, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. He's the best quarterback in football. So, but is he going to be able to throw the ball? I mean, they're used to the cold weather in KC, but it's supposed to be -27 degrees.
You really need guys like Kelce. Everyone has a game plan for Kelce, you know what I mean? But Rashee Rice, I feel like is going to be that big breakout player for Kansas City this entire game. I'm going to bench, Kadarius Toney, leave all those bad hands, off the field and everything. I feel like Rashee Rice, and even I feel like Pacheco, he always plays the chip on the shoulder. He's a dog. He can really run. And I feel like with Miami's defense being banged up, especially their D-line with, Jalen Phillips going out and Bradley Chubb going out with season-ending injuries. You know what I mean? I feel like Zach Sealer, big, run stopper, could also get the quarterback 10 sacks, could really make a difference in this game, and he's really going to have to be their X factor. But I just think there's too many problems with Kansas City this year, man. Like, I feel like, especially against another good team, I know Dolphins aren't the strongest usually, aren't usually that good against, winning teams, but I feel like this offense and I feel like Mike McDaniel is just crafting up something in his head to just tear down this entire defense. So we'll see what that is. I have the Dolphins in this game, so give me their money line for all my gamblers out there, but I really think the Dolphins will win this.
Yeah, my personal opinion is Dolphins do get this done as well. I've really been back and forth on this game, right? Like, do I think the Chiefs are a better team? No, I don't. And that's what it really came down to for me, is the Chiefs, as good as they are on defense now, as good as Mahomes is, as good as Kelce is, Rice breaking out, they really just do not have that one X factor on offense anymore. And that is what's going to harm them in this game.
And that was Tyreek too. That was Tyreek when they had all their success.
Now Tyreek, maybe on the other side of the ball, he'll have a great game. But I really think what gets it done for Miami is A-Chain, and also for betting advice, I'm taking A-Chain anytime touchdown score
Yeah.
and also A-Chain over receiving and rush yards. The line isn't out yet because Mostert's questionable. But yeah, I would take that prop for sure. And just to go a little bit more in depth, I think one of the other reasons that Miami can win this game is because if they're solely relying on Pacheco, right? And then they start having like, let's say KC gets down, they have to start throwing the ball in this cold weather. Well, yeah, you have a guy like Javon Holland who can step up. You have a guy like Jalen Ramsey who's back there. You have even Eli Apple with like,
Yeah,
there's memes about Eli
he
Apple,
had a
but
great game last game
he can
too.
step it up when he needs to. So yeah, I'm leaning Miami in this game. It would fully not surprise me if Kansas City pulls out this victory.
Yeah, they did play in Germany, I do believe, and it was kind of a boring game. You know, Kansas City did actually pull out the win, kind of a low scoring one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see what Miami can do in this cold weather. You know, Kansas City always used to it. You know what I mean? But I think that definitely plays a big factor. But I just think Miami has those playmakers, those speedy playmakers that could really, you know, beat this Kansas City team. I feel like they will pull up an upset here.
100%. So score predictions?
Score predictions. Oh, I'm a bit higher scoring than last time. I'm gonna say it's gonna be like 34 to 23. I'm gonna say like a 2 possession game.
All right.
Going on here for Miami.
I got you with a little bit lower of a score. I'm gonna hit him with a 21-17 for Miami. I just don't think Mahomes gets it going with the offense, and I honestly think there's gonna be a lot of drops, which has been the story of Kansas City season. So you can't really put that on Mahomes, but maybe in the draft, Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin.
He's a guy.
Maybe,
so
maybe.
we'll see.
Showed it to them the last video if you didn't see that one. Now moving on, we have the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Live spread is -9.5 for the Buffalo Bills, and for good reason. You know, they've been the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, the last couple of weeks. I mean, it is kind of a hot take, but from a 12% chance to make the playoffs following an Eagles loss to a divisional champ is impressive.
Yeah, to say the least, really. And this game is going to be determined by a few things. Really, the Bills are just flat out better than the Steelers. But I don't know if people have seen the images of what Orchard Park looks like right now, which is the Bills Stadium. It is just covered in snow. Apparently, it is going to be an absolute disaster to get to and from the game.
Yeah.
Heaps of snow. We're looking at like a foot. So the field is obviously going to be cleared per NFL regulation. But that's not to say what's going to come down in the middle and what can happen. But I think it's pretty clear what has to happen for the Bills to win this game. And that is let James Cook cook. We saw what happened versus the Dallas Cowboys. That was a rainy game, and the Bills knew that Allen wouldn't be too effective through the air. James Cook stood on business, man. He went crazy versus the Cowboys. And I think he's going to do the exact same thing versus the Steelers. They don't have TJ Watt. So that's huge for Allen too, who likes to scramble. And the Bills haven't had a real positive rushing attack other than Allen in the past few years. They had Singletary and whatnot, but James Cook is a star. He's a star. He can really make that difference for them on the ground.
And receive as well, too.
Yeah. So with a lot of checkdowns potentially in this horrible weather, I really just don't think the Steelers keep up whatsoever. I think the Bills get it done.
I think Steelers do have a great defense. You know, without TJ Watt, it's obviously very hard for them.
Yeah.
But I think their secondary, I think their pick at Penn State with Joey Porter has been, they really hit on that pick.
Physical guy.
Very good. And like he's very good. And I feel like he could, you know, cause problems. You know, Diggs has had some inconsistency this year. Gabe Davis is out, but I feel like Joey Porter and Minka, you know, I don't think they can handle the whole tight end attack with Knox and Kincaid. Kincaid has been a great player for Buffalo and really opening up that offense. And I feel like this offense is too much to handle. You know, I feel like Mason Rudolph is, you know, he's very inexperienced in these type of games, but
this has got to be his first playoff game.
Yeah,
right? I believe so. Yeah, I could be wrong.
But yeah, he's played good for the times he's played 3 games. One of them was a rain game, so I'm not really gonna count that too much in Baltimore. But three touchdowns, 0 interceptions, about 700 yards in 3 games. It's what you want to ask for, and I feel like the future is bright for Pittsburgh with Pickens, Dante Johnson. But it's just this Bills defense is too strong for them, just like their offense is too strong for Pittsburgh.
The Bills defense too, not to mention like the Steelers rush attack over the past few weeks. They've really found something that works with Najee and Jalen Warren. But Yeah, I think the Bills are real good at stopping the run. I think Matt Milano is going to get in there. Um, you've got Poyer who's going to get in there. And on the outside, to stop those guys like Pickens, you got the Green Bay faithful, Rasul Douglas, man.
He played great with them.
He's been unreal, and
Been a
now
ball hawk, really.
that's probably one of the best acquisitions of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Of all the NFL, I'm pretty sad to have lost a guy like that. He's a great guy for the locker room too. He's been on the Packers teams that have had the expectations of winning, have been the 1 seed, so he knows what it takes. And I really think this Bills team could potentially get over the hump of losing in the first 2 rounds this year.
Yeah, they've really shown that. They've beat some really good teams, beat the Cowboys, beat the Dolphins,
Could have,
beat the
should have beat the
Chiefs.
Eagles, to be honest.
Yeah, that was kind of rough to see, for all Bills fans out there. But man, this team, they've been nothing but great, Like obviously Josh has had his problems with turnovers. He's had 29 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, but I feel like his rushing ability kind of makes up for it. But I don't feel like this is a game where turnovers should concern me, because I feel like the Bills just have that big of an advantage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we will see what happens. I'm obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm leaning towards the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that -9.5, and my score prediction, I feel like it's going to be kind of like, I'd say in the 30 range for the Bills. I'm gonna say about 37, maybe to 18 even. I feel like this might be that should be a blowout. I don't think Mason Rudolph can get this done whatsoever. I feel like this is kind of a clear choice, but I do not discredit anything that Pittsburgh has done, and do not discredit their bright future, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. What about you?
For those looking to gamble, I got a James Cook anytime, as you may have predicted, and I've also got a Josh Allen anytime. They've been using him a whole lot on the goal line this year, and it's honestly unstoppable with power like his. And score prediction, I think I'm gonna go with 28-14. They're gonna win by a full 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I'll stick with that. 28-14. I do think the Steelers can get some offense going, but in the end, it'll definitely be the Bills who come out on top.
Eagles and Buccaneers. Live spread -3 Eagles. This is a very interesting game. Bucks have been also one of the hottest teams in the NFL as of late. Finishing 9-8, finishing 4-1. This team is legit, and Eagles have like the complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, start of the year, I was extremely high on the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're my Super Bowl pick, and they were looking all right. They were 10-1. They were cooking on all aspects. They were having a great defense. Their offense was looking great. Jalen Hurts was looking like an early season MVP favorite. And then they collapsed like nothing I've ever seen before. I believe they finished 2-6 in their last 8, something like that. Very, very, very surprising end to the season. They were almost a guarantee for the 1 seed, and then they lost 3 straight. That started with the 49ers, the Cowboys, and then Seattle shook them up. And from
Seattle
then,
kind of owns them though too.
they've never been the same since that. But none of that matters, because guess what? The playoffs is different, and the Eagles have too good of a roster to lose this game.
Yep.
They are not losing to the Bucks. I would bet my life on it. This is a crazy thing to say, but I have so much confidence that this Eagles team is not losing in the first round, despite what a lot of other people may be picking. And even if Jalen Hurts is not healthy, Mariota is serviceable in this offense.
Yeah. Like you said, great roster, Reed Blankenship may be out, which could cause an issue for the secondary, but I feel like Eli Ricks, Kelee Ringo have been great picks for this Eagles defense. And like I feel like everyone's kind of forgetting that they have James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Jalen Carter in the defensive line, Hassan Reddick.
Sidney Brown too.
Exactly. They've really shown a lot with Jalen Carter as well too, man. He's been great, and they could cause many problems for this Bucks line. So we'll see what happens. I feel like Bucks kind of do have those same kind of playmakers. I don't want to overlook them too much, but like, the great linebacking crew: Devin White, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, great run stoppers. It'd be hard. It's hard to contain Hurts, but I feel like the Bucks can do that. And with the way Baker Mayfield has been playing, we both saw him just cook up our whole defense a couple weeks back, which was sad, but who cares? Who cares? We made the playoffs, all that. But this team is great, but I just feel like the Eagles defense could just cause way too many problems for this Bucks wide receiver core and this whole secondary. So I'm gonna lean towards the Eagles. It is kind of a hard game in prime time, Monday night, in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, but the Eagles are the better roster, and how competitive Jalen Hurts be. Yeah, I know we've all seen those kind of memes. He's a player, man. You know, so we'll see. I feel like he has actually a bit of fuel going into this playoffs. And AJ Brown is it was questionable going in, but he will probably end up playing. Hurts' finger was kind of messed up too, but and we'll see what happens. But I do think the Eagles will win. I would take that -3. Like if they're gonna win, I assume they win more than 3. So put my gamblers up there.
And let's not kid ourselves either. The Eagles defense has been absolute Swiss cheese lately. Like they've been brutal. Their offense has not been firing. The Cardinals just cooked them up last week. And to be honest, like it's hard to pick them in this spot, but at the same time, I find it very easy to put my confidence in the guys that they have.
Yeah.
I don't think their coaching staff is all that great, nor are they horrible, but I think, yeah, exactly. I think they're under a lot of pressure. Sometimes that Super Bowl hangover can hit you hard, and right now it hit them. But going into the playoffs, it really wouldn't surprise me if a team with this much talent can get it going and really prove to be the team that we all think they are or were.
They've had that experience for sure after last year, and I know Hurts really wants it, and
they're gonna get hungry.
Even though he's had a down season, which is like kind of crazy because like he's still played well. You know what I mean? Like even though like not really these past couple weeks, but he still had a great season. People calling it down year.
Yeah.
But he's still him. He's still that quarterback, and I feel like he's gonna lead the win. So my final score prediction is going to be 24-17 for the Philadelphia Eagles in primetime.
And I'm kind of going opposite on the score. I've taken a lot of lower scores based on weather, based on other factors. And in this game, I think I'm going to go 34-30 for the Eagles. So yes, they are covering that spread. I would bet a Devonta Smith anytime touchdown. If you're a better.
Rams and Lions. I know we both don't like the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, divisional team. And I'll come out and say it right away. I don't believe in the Lions. They're fraudulent. We proved that on Thanksgiving. When you bring pressure to Jared Goff, he will not perform. He will not perform.
He's not mobile. I'm really not trying to sound like a hater right now, even though I do hate the Lions, but I'm gonna try to keep it as fair as possible. You know what I mean? Byron Young, 9 sacks. Aaron Donald, best player in the NFL. Like, yeah, he's proven that over the past couple years. 8 sacks this year. Like,
getting triple teamed on every single play.
Yeah. And I feel like Goff just doesn't have that mobility. I know he does have some playoff experience. Lions don't have any. They do not have any. Dan Campbell, great coach. I'm curious to see how he will perform against Sean McVay in the playoffs, but Sean McVay is a Super Bowl coach winner. And just like this team is, man, Puka Nacua has stepped up into one of the best wide receivers and one of the best rookie wide receivers of all time too. So it's really been great to see. I want to see more of the Cup, but I feel like the Rams could pull this one out.
I feel like Cup is going to have a huge game. They're going to rely on a guy like him, a guy who's been there, a guy who's proven to get it done in the playoffs on many levels. Just when you thought Tom Brady was going to make that fantasy run, right? Back when the Rams did win the Super Bowl, huge bomb from Stafford down to Cup, catches it, puts him right in field goal range.
Yeah.
They get it done. I think that the Rams take this one. I think that their roster is the 3rd best in the NFC.
Not to mention Kyren Williams too.
Yeah, that's behind the 49ers and the Cowboys. I think the Rams are number 3. And I don't think it's much of a conversation right now the way they've been playing. Stafford has been playing out of his mind. Kyren Williams has been getting that job done. Putting up almost 100 yards per game. And I don't know if the Lions can keep up with that. They have a very explosive offense, but other than Aiden Hutchinson, that defense is a little bit thin.
Kyren Williams is over 1,000 yards in the season. And I don't want to brag. As you know, last year I did say this take. I said he would be one of the best running backs in the NFL someday. And, you know, he's proven that this year for sure. And I feel like he's too much to handle, you know what I mean? So for this Lions defense, I don't know what other kind of pressure could come other than Aiden Hutchinson here. And I feel like even though Kirby Joseph has been a great player in the secondary, there is too much to handle, you know. So I have the Rams winning this game. There's no hate to Detroit, you know, like they're still a good team and everything, but I do have the Rams. I feel like they have the experience, the coaching, the better roster.
Yeah, I mean, rookie corner too in on the Lions there, and they've got a guy like CJ Gardner-Johnson who's coming back, but he's been banged up all year, right? So when you're coming back for a time like this, it's a little bit tough to sort of come back right in that playoff atmosphere when you have a guy like Cup, Nakua, and you have to be worried about the run offense. I think McVay is really going to cook up a game plan to stop the rush attack of Detroit that's been so prominent all year with Gibbs and Montgomery. But yeah, I've got the Rams in this one. If I had to give a score prediction, I think it is going to be a high-scoring affair. This will be Stafford's return to Detroit, not to mention Detroit's first time hosting a playoff game. I think the vibes will be high, and I think the offenses both get it done here. I'm gonna go with 35-32 for the Rams, winning by 3, and that's gonna be off a game-winning field goal.
Like you just said about that rookie, Brian Branch, he's been great, and it's really making my decision a lot harder, but I've always kind of stuck with the Rams since this matchup came out. So I do have to go with the Rams, pick their money line for our betting. And you know what? I do kind of see this being a shootout as well. You know, that's what pretty much every Lions game is at this point. And I'm going to say it's going to be 28-23 for the Los Angeles Rams.
Packers, Cowboys.
You know, like no bias. No freaking bias right here.
Two Packers fans in the room. I mean,
it's hard to believe us, you know what I mean?
you may see where this is going, but it's for good reason, and we're going to explain this to you. So, in Jerry's world, the Packers are 5-0.
Undefeated.
In our last 10 matches versus the Cowboys, we're 9-10. Who's their head coach? Mike McCarthy. Who struggled in the playoffs his whole career with the Packers? Mike McCarthy.
And with Cowboys.
I know what they're going to say. Aaron Rodgers, he was there for all those games on those past streak with Dallas, but we've turned a new leaf over in Green Bay. And I don't know if y'all boys know, but we got a guy named Jay Love, Jordan Amore. He's him. He's gonna step it up. He's a rookie quarterback. Well, not a rookie, but a first-year starter. And he's been playing as of late like a true vet. 18-1 touchdown to interception ratio since week 11, I believe. We've had our young boys making plays on the ball at all times. That's Reed, that's Wicks, scoring multiple touchdown games in back-to-back weeks. And that's without our wide receiver one, Watson. He's barely played this year. And since we've gotten our jump back with Aaron Jones carrying the ball, he's got 400+ yards in his last 3 games. I really do think that this Packers team is too much to handle for the Cowboys. They always find a way to choke in the playoffs. They're like the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NFL. They always find a way to choke in the playoffs. And I truly believe in my team trying to really remove myself as a fan when I look at this game. I still just believe in this Packers young team. I think they're hungry. I think they got something to prove. They're still being doubted on. It's luck. It's this, that, whatever. And all that being said, this will not be an easy victory by any means. The Cowboys, like I said, I think they're the second best team in the whole entire NFC. And they did finish with the 2 seed. I think they're one of the best rosters in the entire NFL. But I just think that the Packers' game plan under Matt LaFleur, not to mention Joe Barry, who's been pretty good in the last 2 weeks.
He's beaten those allegations, man.
Despite people calling for his job.
Beating those bad DC allegations.
But this comes down to a few things. This comes down to how well we run the ball. This comes down to how well Jordan Love does under the pressure. And it comes down to, is Jair Alexander going to be healthy? So they got a boy on that other side of the ball, 8, CeeDee Lamb. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. That is a task that no defense wants to have to deal with, especially in the playoffs when they're just going to feed him and let him make your plays. You're going to go to your best guys to make your plays in the playoffs. That goes without saying. You want the ball in the guys' hands who you pay the most. And obviously that's CD. Dax had a great year. But he's due, man. He's due for a stinker. Dak, we haven't seen a few interception game from Dak in a little while. And the Packers defense, they haven't come away with too many turnovers in the last game. And that's what they're good at. They're good at forcing turnovers. We've got Preston Smith, we've got Rashawn Gary, we've got the rookie Lucas Van Ness, we've got Kenny Clark, we've got 5th-round pick Carl Brooks. We've got all the boys that can come in. The Smiths on the left side there, Dunzo. Anyways,
Let me tell
I
you.
rambled a little.
You're good. Let me tell you. That's fact. First, second. Let me speak on Dallas' side first, because I know, we kind of rabble with the Packers a ton here. But Dak Prescott has been, it pains me to my core to say this, the best quarterback in the NFL. I'd say he's been better than Josh. He's been the best quarterback in the NFL, which seems very weird to say. And a big reason is that, limits turnovers, has a guy like CeeDee Lamb who could, has about 1,800 yards right here. And Jake Ferguson has stepped up. I feel like he'll be a very hard player to stop for the Green Bay Packers. But just one thing that they are missing, just quick flashback to November 2022. We have a guy that was a full participant in practice today. He had not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns on 4 receptions for 107 yards. You know what that guy's name is?
Christian Watson.
Christian Watson. Without Dobbs, we might not play with Dobbs. He does have a chest injury. We are hoping the best for him. We heard he was coughing blood last week and
Listed
Green
as
Bay.
playing. No injury designation though.
Okay.
As of 18 minutes ago. You know,
Okay.
I'd be checking Twitter like that.
Yeah,
But
he's Twitter merchant right here.
but in all seriousness, you would not surprise me if the Cowboys won this game. Let's be real here. The Cowboys are an unreal team. I'm riding with the Packers because I think they're young and hungry. I think they have the guys to get this done. I think they have the perfect balance between veterans and rookies that are really hungry and just want to get this out. And I think all the pressure is on Dallas. What does Green Bay have to lose? They weren't even supposed to be here. They weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. Nobody believed in Jordan Love after week 7, week 8. They're saying he's a bust. Green Bay's finally going to have to deal with the implications of having a bad quarterback. What are you going to say
Beat those
now?
allegations. So let me tell you, just like you said, we were saying start Sean Clifford in like week 7, week 8 around. Do we look like goofballs for that? Maybe we do. But us two, we both believed in Jordan Love that he could be this guy. It takes time, you know what I mean? With this young receiving core, just like with the Buffalo Bills, we got 2 great tight ends, 2 great rookie tight ends, in Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave has dealt with injuries, but he's gonna be back playing in Dallas this week. And I'm just so excited. Jaden Reed over 800 yards this season, 10 touchdowns, including rushing and receiving this year. He has been our X factor player, and I feel like a guy like Dontavian Wicks has kind of gone under the radar just a bit. But this guy is the truth. 2 touchdowns against Chicago last week.
He's been huge for us on 3rd downs as well. Huge target on 3rd downs.
Let's not forget about Jordan Love. This is his game. This is kind of a weird switch up between the last games we previewed to this game, but we are passionate and we truly believe, no bias. If we're wrong, blame us in the comments. We will eat that up. But
I could care less. I'm living and dying by the green and gold. I got my green hoodie on.
Matt LaFleur, he hasn't coached great in the playoffs, but neither has Mike McCarthy. We still have Green Bay and with Dallas. They haven't won a playoff game. Dak, well, they won one against Tampa, but that's the only one they've won.
But I think what this really comes down to at the end of the day, the Cowboys haven't been able to run the ball very well all season long. Pollard's been extremely underwhelming in that regard. Dowdle has been pretty good as a backup, but he hasn't been great by any means. And that O-line hasn't been doing them any favors either when it comes to run blocking. So really, if we can shut down CD and we can force them to run the ball, like if they go up on us, which I could totally see happening, they're gonna have to run the ball. And that's what Green Bay has honestly been great at the last few weeks is stopping the run. They've taken away the stars out of the game. They took away DJ Moore. They took away Justin Jefferson. They're taking away the quarterback's number one options. And that's been working for us. And you know what? We're a young and hungry team. We're hot at the right time. Our good guys are playing. We're the healthiest we've been all season long. We're praying for Jair Alexander to be able to play. Obviously, that is a huge, huge, huge determining factor in whether we're able to win this game or not. But
We have Carrington Valentine, rookie. Corey Valentine, who's played great. He when covering Jefferson, 3 targets, 0 receptions. You know, we have these DBs who could step it up. Darnell Savage was possible going this week. We're assuming he's gonna play. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a game where Rashawn Gary could really get to Dak, really cause many problems. And I feel like I said, we don't really have much to lose. We weren't supposed to make it here, but we made it, you know.
yeah, Dak hasn't been sacked very much at all this year. He's only taken sacks, multiple sacks, I believe, a few times this year. And in Green Bay's last 4 games, 16 sacks.
Yeah, and Carl Brooks has played great. 2.5 or 3, if not mistaken. Sacks in Chicago, he's been great. So I feel like this D line, we've just been different. So, you know, not to discredit anything with Dallas. It's gonna be a great game, and I'm obviously gonna take the Green Bay Packers, and I'm gonna take it in a heartbreaking fashion. Anders Carlson.
Yeah, man, Anders Carlson, he's been inconsistent as hell this year. Something tells me he's hitting that game-winning field goal.
Yep, I'm gonna say just like last year, they won it overtime. I feel like it's gonna be like a buzzer beater field goal. 31-28, Green Bay Packers, moving on to the next round.
I saw this score in my head. I had a dream. It's 34-31 for the Packers. Book it.
Lock it in.
If you're looking
Lock it in.
If you're looking for touchdown scores, I'm taking Aaron Jones and I'm taking Jaden Reed. Maybe sprinkle a little bit on multi-touchdown.
What about,
Jaden
or
Reed
you might
game.
see Lowell Watson a 1, 2, 3.
In all seriousness, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go baby.
And I hope y'all boys enjoyed all of our predictions.
Yes, sir. And yeah, I guess that will conclude it now. So we really appreciate you guys checking in. Thomas, really appreciate you coming on the pod and everything. Had a great time, and hopefully this won't be the last time you guys see his face and everything. So you guys enjoyed him, which I'm assuming you did. Come on now. Leave in the comments. We'll leave all of our socials in the bio. So make sure to go follow those. Really appreciate you guys. Drop a like, drop a subscribe. It really helps me out. And really appreciate you guys so much. And that'll conclude it. Thank you guys, and peace.